In this lecture, we're going to learn about the algorithms we can use to find things in our collections. And these are std_find and std_findF. We are going to look at a few examples here. So we have an std vector and we want to find the n value, which is 23 by now. And we are going to use std_find and specify the beginning iterator and the end iterator. And at the end, we specify what we want to find. This is going to search for this 23 value in this collection. If the value is found, we're going to return an iterator pointing to that value. If the value is not found, we're going to return an AND iterator that we can check against to know if the search was successful. So if we find our value, we're going to say that our collection contains the value. If we don't find it, we're going to say that we don't have such a value in this collection here. This is how you can use this algorithm here. We also have another algorithm which is going to find values that meet some criteria. So for example, here we can set up a callback or a predicate which is going to find odd values in this collection here. So once we do that, we're going to call the findIf algorithm, specify the beginning and the end, and then we're going to say that we want to find odd data in this collection here. The findIf algorithm is going to running the odd predicate on each element, and if the value is odd, we're going to know that it is odd. And if at least we find one odd value, we're going to say that right here. If the algorithm runs to the end and we don't find an odd value, we're going to say that right here that we don't contain any odd number. This is how you can use this algorithm here. If you want to learn more about this algorithm, you can search for it in CPP reference. You're going to find it right here and you can learn all you can about it. You can look at the parameters you can pass to it. You can look at the return values. You can learn about its complexity. If you go down, you're going to even find a bunch of examples you can use to do all kinds of crazy things. Now that you know this, we're going to head over to Visual Studio Code and play with this a little more. Here we are in our working folder. The current project is find and findIf. We're going to grab our template files as we always do and put them in place. And we are going to open this up in Visual Studio Code. This will give us our main CPP file that we can clean up like we always do. And we're going to close the left sidebar here. We can include our algorithm header. Let's do that. And bring in the vector header because I think we're going to use the vector. We are then going to head over in our main function and set up our code. We're going to create a vector container and we're going to try and find something in this collection here. Please note that this algorithm will work on any container that happens to support the iterator types that we want for the beginning and end here. If we come back to the documentation, we will see that all that is required is an input iterator. And this is really pretty general, so it is going to work on a range of containers in the STL. So we pass in our beginning, we pass in our end, and we pass in whatever it is we want to search for in this collection here. And if we find it, we're going to return an iterator to that thing. If we don't find it, we're going to return the AND iterator. Here we do a check to see if we don't have an AND iterator returned. If it's not an AND iterator, we will fall here and we will note that the collection contains our value. If it is an AND iterator, we're going to fall right here and note that our collection doesn't contain our value. In this case, we are looking for a 23 and we don't have a 23 in here. So we are going to fail and say that we don't contain this value here. We can pass this through the compiler to see this in action. Let's use GCC. The bold is good, so we can bring up a terminal window. We're going to run Rooster and we're going to see that the collection does not contain 23. But if we stop looking for 23 and look for 24 instead, we will find 24 because it is contained in our collection here. Let's pass this through the compiler to prove this. We are going to use GCC again. The boot is going to be good, so we can clear and run Rooster, and we will see that now we contain 24. This is how you can use this algorithm here. We can also put in a separator and use the copyIf version of the finding algorithm. But before we do that, we're going to set up a predicate we're going to use to find odd values in our collection. Now, what this algorithm is going to do is find out if our collection contains at least one odd element. If that's the case, we're going to print that out here. So it is going to contain at least one odd number, and we're going to say that number here. If we don't contain it, we're going to say that right here. If the element is found, we're going to return an iterator to that, and we're going to use that in our dereferencing here. That's something you should know, and this is really how you use this algorithm here. Let's pass this through the compiler. The build is good, so we can clear and run Rooster. This will say that the collection contains at least one odd number, and I think we're going to find the first odd number, which is the 7 here, and this is going to be the result of our algorithm here. If we take out the 7, or we change the 7 to be 72 and 11 to be 112, we're not going to have any odd number in this collection, and we can pass this through the compiler to see what we get from this algorithm here. The build is good, so we can clear and run Rooster, and we see that we contain at least one odd number. Let's see, we didn't put in 112, we put in 111. We can correct this and build again. The build is good, so let's clear, and run Rooster. Now we see that we don't contain any odd number. This is how you can use this algorithm here. If you want, you can learn more again by coming at the documentation here. If you open up the algorithm library, you're going to find all these algorithms, and I think we can find our find if version. Let's crack this open. We're going to find if and find if not. You can use all these versions, and if you go down, you're going to find a bunch of examples you can play with your C++ program. This is all I had to share in this lecture, giving you a simple example of how to play with the std find and find if algorithms. We are going to stop here in this one. In the next one, we're going to look at the copy algorithm that we have right here. Go ahead and finish up here and meet me there.